Okay, in this video I'm going to explain what lead scoring is and show you how I've set it up in my system. Lead scoring basically is assigning a value or a number of points to a behavior that an email subscriber takes. So examples of behaviors could be opening an email, clicking a link in an email, visiting a certain web page, or buying a product, or that sort of thing. And when you use more advanced CRMs like Office Autopilot or Infusionsoft, they allow you to assign points to different behaviors, and then you can amass a lead score for every single subscriber in your database, and it's cumulative. So in other words, if you assign a value of 1 when a person opens an email, and then you give them 2 points when they click a link in that email, then if a person opens an email and clicks a link, then they have 3 points added to their profile in the system because they've done 2 different behaviors. So this is the lead scoring page in Office Autopilot in my account, and I'll just show you quickly how I've assigned values or points to different behaviors. So if you look here, I assign 1 point if a person opens any email, okay? And I'm just kind of learning this as I go along as well, so I'm just sort of in the initial stages of doing it. I'll probably refine this as I go along and learn more about lead scoring. So 1 point gets assigned to a person's account if they open any email. Then I assign 2 points if that person clicks a link in a particular email, and I have this set up to correspond with various websites of mine. Okay. Then if you look down here, 3 points are assigned to a person if they click through to a sales page. And I've got tracking set up on my websites as well, so that people's behaviors are actually tracked on the websites, and that's added to their profile, which is super, super cool. So that's 3 points. The idea being that if a person simply opens an email, that's not an especially valuable behavior because it doesn't take much effort to do that. If they click through to a page on your website, that requires a bit more effort and it indicates a little more interest. If they go to a sales page, however, that indicates even more interest, and it also indicates they might be interested in buying, which is why if you look here, I've got 5 points assigned if a person clicks from the sales page to an order form. Obviously, if a person clicks through to an order form, they're fairly interested in purchasing the product. They're kind of curious. And as a side note, with systems like Office Autopilot, you can also set up things where if a person clicks through to an order form but doesn't buy immediately, you can have a small mini sequence of emails set up so that it automatically goes out to them. And I've actually got that set up for my products. So if a person clicks through to an order form but doesn't buy immediately, within 15 minutes, an automatic email is sent to them saying, hey, notice that you put something in your shopping cart, product XY, in your shopping cart, but you didn't buy. It's still sitting there, just wondering if you have any questions. Then if they don't buy within 24 hours, my system sends up the person an automatic email with a 10% discount. And this actually works. It is really cool. Because basically what you're doing is you're responding to people based on their behavior, which is the essence of behavioral marketing. Okay, so just to wrap this up then, so 5 points is assigned to a person's profile if they click through an order form, and then of course the ultimate is if they buy a product, so they get 10 points assigned to their account if they buy a product. So here's sort of the basics of the scoring system. There's also something called lead score degradation, which is also in Office Autopilot, and basically what that means is recency is the most important variable that you want to keep an eye on when you're seeing people's behavior on your website and interacting with your email and that sort of thing. So what the system does is it will degrade or reduce a person's score every day, and I have it set up so that 1% of their total score is reduced every day, because if it's been, say, 10 days since they've interacted with my website or email or that sort of thing, then that shows that they're declining in interest in what I have to offer, so it reduces their score. Okay, so I'm going to go to my contacts page, and you'll be able to see this in action, how it assigns lead scores to individual contacts in the database. All right, so here we are on the contacts page. I've obviously obscured the emails and names for privacy reasons. But what you can see is it's the person's name, their email address, the date that they were added to the system. This is their lead score, and I'll explain that in a second. Last activity, which itself is pretty interesting. You can see when people have last interacted with your email or your website, and then contact ID. So this is the lead score, and the way that Office Autopilot does it is they take the very top lead score, which in this case is 86 points, and they make that the very top 100%, okay? And then all the subsequent scores below that are ranked according to the 100%. So this person has 68 points, they're 88%, this person 64, 86%. So these people, this is pretty high scores. Given that I only assign a value of 1 if a person opens the email and 2 if they click a link, then these people have been doing a lot of things. But they haven't purchased, because you can see in the spent column there's nothing here. So I'll get into that in a second, but I want to show you something really interesting first. If you go down here, you can see that under the spent column there's some people who have purchased from me recently, and they're clustered around a certain lead score, which I find really interesting. So these people who have bought recently have a lead score ranging from, say, 10 up to 16. Which means they haven't done very much before they purchase, because I assign a value of 10 to a person automatically if they purchase one of my products. So these people probably have opened a couple of emails, maybe gone to a couple of websites, pages of mine, and then they've purchased right away. So what I find really interesting about that is that if you look up here above them, there are quite a few people who have much higher lead scores. So in other words, they've been interacting with my websites and emails quite a bit more, but they haven't purchased yet. So there's a reason why they haven't purchased yet. And what I need to do is I need to set up a triggered email when a person reaches a certain threshold of points or score that fires an email to them and says, hey, notice you've been around my website lately. Just wondering if you have any questions, and if you've seen my products, if you have any questions about those products, right? So there's a good way of communicating with somebody automatically when you know that they're hot, when you know that they're interested in what you have to offer because they've reached a certain lead score and they've surpassed it, as a matter of fact. So I think that's really, really cool. I'm going to be playing around this lead scoring system and tweaking it and whatnot, but I think there's huge opportunities here to engage with people, and most importantly, the whole point of lead score is that you want to communicate and engage with people who are really interested in you, and the lead score is the way of determining that. Okay, so that's it. That's Lead Scoring 101. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.